Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the session meeting energy demand for smart cities. My name is Emanuele Bompan. I'm the editor of Renewable Matter. Renewable Matter is a magazine that specializes on circular and bioeconomy. So you might wonder why a journalist has to do with circular economy is here for an energy session. Well, you know, energy nowadays is a very complex system. It's a very complex reality. And when we look at circular economy, of course we need energy that is circular itself. Of course we need renewable energy. But also we need cities that use materials for the energy world in a smart way, in an efficient way, in a circular way. And of course today we can produce energy from waste, not just from burning them, but we can create biogas from organic waste. And so we see there is a lot of innovation going on today, a lot of ideas of how we manage energy, how we create energy, how we meet this demand of energy, taking care all the possible angle, the water energy nexus, the waste energy nexus, the new technologies that enable consumers to receive the proper amount of energy. And of course, today we see very interesting revolution in how we distribute energy, in how we provide the citizen energy. In circular economy, there is a very common example when we talk about product as a service that take into consideration cars. Cars nowadays are used for only 5 to 10% of their lifespan. Most of the time, they stay idle in parking lots. Well, car sharing system with diesel cars or normal fuel cars, they're used up to 40% of the lifetime, meaning that all the materials that go into this car are put in better use than a normal car that sits idle for most of the time. What happens with the electric cars? The electric cars is used for 100% of its time because not only it becomes a very smart way for transportation, but it becomes an element of the energy system in the smart city. It becomes a battery, so the car, it's used for 100% of its time, of its lifetime. And so we see there are a lot of ideas, a lot of transformation are going on. And I think in the next 15 years, we will see an increase of how different elements of the smart cities will get together. So that's why I wanted to start with this brief introduction to see, how many opportunities we have to envision the future of our city. This session today, of course, we'll see a lot of ideas. We'll see a lot of new projects. We will have 2 keynote speakers that will present their solution to this problem. Then we will have a panel that will discuss about factual solution for meeting the energy demand for smart cities. But the first things I want to tell you is to explain how the Q&A works here at Smart City Expo. I don't know if all of you have downloaded the app of the Smart City Expo. If you haven't, I suggest to do that now, because that's the way you can ask questions to the participant of this panel. So if you open your app, you can check there is a, let me find out, the name of the app is Smart City Expo. Oh, there's a lot of loud music. And if you see there is a button that is Ask and Vote, and on the button Ask and Vote, you can opening. Now probably there is not working yet. It will be in 5 minutes when the session when the speakers will start. And here you can type questions to the speakers, or you can vote questions that are already in the system. Okay, is it clear? It's quite easy, and you can also rate the speakers, and you can rate the chair of the session. So I really encourage you to do that. So I want to invite now the first keynote speaker of the day, the Vice Mayor of Kobe City Government, Mr. Hidetoshi Terasaki, that will explain a very interesting project, how to use hydrogen to meet energy demand in smart cities. Mr. Hidetoshi Terasaki, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about Kobe City's project about hydrogen. I'd like to thank you, all the organizers, giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much. First of all, do you know Kobe City? Kobe City is located in Japan. First of all, I'd like to present a small video message. He's one of the famous guys in the Kobe City.
Saludos a la gente de Barcelona. Hola, soy Andrés Iniesta, vivo actualmente en la ciudad de Kobe, Japón, y juego para el Vissel Kobe. Kobe es una ciudad muy bonita, rodeada de naturaleza, se come muy bien y a mi familia y a mí nos encanta. Vengan a Kobe.
Thank you very much. Do you know him? Yes, Andrés Iniesta. He just now living in Kobe. Kobe City is a sister city of Barcelona, this great city. And Iniesta connect us more deeply. And Kobe City is located next to Osaka or Kyoto. You know, Kyoto City is very famous, one of the most oldest city in Japan. Next to Kyoto, our Kobe City is located. Refined cityscape and abundant nature, especially from Mount Rocco, one of the 3 best night view in Japan. Please visit. And all of you know that Kobe beef. Kobe has plenty of Kobe brand, also known as Kobe Pearl and Kobe Sweet, and a lot of delicious Japanese sake, Nada sake. But our very beautiful city was shocked by the earthquake, severe earthquake, on January 17th, 1995. As a result of this disaster, the precious lives of 4,600 citizens were killed, and we suffered great economic losses. In order to revitalize the economy, discussion were begun in 1998 to cultivate growing 21st century medical industry in Kobe. Kobe City is a very crowded city, but we have to create a new land in the ocean. The Kobe Medical Innovation Cluster is located on Port Island, a man-made island in southern Kobe. The KVIC has become a top-class biomedical cluster in Japan, and there are now over 350 cutting-edge medical technology, R&D institutions, and medical-related companies. The foundation of this biomedical cluster at Kobe played a central role in this initiative, and we are very pleased the top of our foundation, Dr. Tasuku Honjo. He won the Nobel Prize of this year. Now, I will introduce the main topic, our effort in hydrogen energy. As a part of measure to combat with the worldwide problem, the global warming, Kobe has set a goal to decrease the greenhouse gases present in 2015 34% by 2030. In order to achieve this goal, we are promoting the Hydrogen Smart City Kobe initiative, which aims to create a society based on hydrogen energy and does not create the carbon dioxide emissions that cause global warming. This is a map of our Hydrogen Smart City Kobe initiative. By using hydrogen energy close to home, we are promoting the spread of home fuel cell units and also FCVs, fuel cell vehicles, and hydrogen stations. We are also cooperating with local companies to initiate 2 projects on man-made island in Kobe, also Kobe Airport Island and Port Island. The first project is the demonstration project to developing a system utilizing hydrogen energy. Please watch this video.
Kobe, a port city that contains both mountains and the sea. Located offshore from central Kobe, Port Island is an urban waterfront area. Besides a residential area with parks, this man-made island is also home to many corporate offices, research centers, and institutes of higher education. With the installation of a supercomputer and Japan's largest biomedical cluster of advanced medical technological institutes, all sorts of innovative research and business are conducted on this island. In a corner of Port Island, a new pioneering hydrogen energy project utilizing cutting-edge technology is taking place. Verification tests are being conducted on a cogeneration system using hydrogen gas turbines. The hydrogen energy converted into heat and electric power here in an urban location can be supplied to hospitals and other public facilities, the first such attempt in the world. In September 2017, final adjustments were being made on a 1 megawatt gas turbine fueled by hydrogen and natural gas at the Kawasaki Heavy Industries Akashi Works. A cogeneration system with this 1 megawatt gas turbine as its core has been constructed on the site of a former waste treatment plant on Port Island. After a construction period of around 2 months, a press announcement and ceremony were held in December 2017. We conducted numerous trial runs and safety inspections. Then, in April 2018, approximately 4 months after the start of testing, we succeeded in achieving a hydrogen blend rate of 100%. Generating heat and electric power in an urban location and providing it to nearby public facilities, this online experimental project is a world first. A hydrogen-based society closely rooted in our daily lives is just around the corner.
Thank you very much. And as you saw on this video, the electricity and heat generated by this hydrogen cogeneration system is supplied to 4 public facilities, including a hospital, sports centers. In this demonstration project, we achieved the world's first supply of energy in urban area using 100% hydrogen. The supply capacity is 1,100 kilowatts of electricity, enough for about 2,600 standard households and 2,800 kilowatts of heat, about 4,000 households. Moving on to the second one. Second project is a demonstration project to establish a hydrogen supply chain. This project aims to take energy not being used to create a hydrogen supply chain that combines production, storage, shipping, and use. We are encouraging research and development of technology for loading and unloading liquefied hydrogen in the northeastern section of Kobe Airport Island. This project is developing technology for large-scale transportation of supercooled hydrogen over long distances, as well as technology for high-efficiency installation and vacuum storage of hydrogen. By matching hydrogen energy distribution networks to future demand, Kobe is leading the world in integrative efforts in hydrogen energy. We think that Kobe City has 4 roles as a local government to help realize a hydrogen-basis society. We believe that Hydrogen Smart City Kobe initiative will not only lead to an environmental friendly city, but also it's improve energy security, also expand opportunities for local small and mid-sized companies, increase new jobs, vitalize the city's economy, and contribute to creating a safe, secure, and comfortable city. We hope to be the world-class city of dreams. If you come to visit Kobe, you can see and watch our efforts. Please come to Kobe. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you to Mr. Terasaki. Indeed, a very great and interesting project, and congratulations to the city of Kobe for this project. It's been first in the world. Our next speaker is Piero Pelizzaro. Piero Pelizzaro is the Chief Resilience Officer of the Municipality of Milano and one of the leading authors about resilience in cities. Piero, please join us for a discussion with us. We should have 2 chairs. Oh, yeah, they are. Oh, I'll be standing. Okay. So, Piero, Milano, it's a very important city in Italy that is undergoing things. It's undergoing a very, very important transition in terms of becoming a real smart city. What has been the reflection regarding the energy system to make it really smart, to make energy accessible to people, and how it plays to make what is the strategy to make the city resilient also from energy perspective?
Thank you very much, Emanuele. Thanks for all of you to get me here. The city of Milan recently is becoming smart and smart, but is also, we are now in the process of defining our resilience strategy in a time where climate change is impacting our cities significantly. Last week, we were hit by a wind of 120 kilometers per hour. That means that something unpredictable, even for the energy grid, for the energy system. We reached the temperature during the summer that the perception of the temperature could be 45, 46. That on a built environment that create a lot of issue for people, for health, but also for the energy system. As well, the city of Milan, compared to other cities, has a peculiar situation with water. We are not suffering from drought. We are suffering because we have too much water in the city. Due to the economical crisis, when a lot of companies closed, they were using a lot of water for the groundwater. That means that the groundwater is increasing. We have an increase of water from the top when it's raining, so it's meaning that we are suffering a lot from flooding. There is an element on the built environment, but there is also an element that is a natural element of that. So why I'm doing this introduction? Because when we speak about energy demand and how we look at energy, the new concept we need to integrate is to look energy and water together and look how energy could be an answer also to better managing the water. And I give an example. In the city, we still have 3,200 heating pumps using gasoline, an ancient system, let's say. But what if you decide to get a new heating pump using water surface as a system? Could this energy that is providing clean energy to people also be the solution or like to contribute to better managing the water in terms of flooding and flooding event. So that is one of the elements we are looking, how we can use the water as an energy sources in general in the city, not only the big hydropower, but also for small heating pump.
So making a problem an opportunity.
Yes, exactly. That's what exactly is resilience normally thinks. Not looking at the problem, looking at the solution and trying to integrate the different department, different solution in one option. So that is one of the elements that we are looking strongly. And it's also linked to another big project of the city that, maybe you know Navigli. You know Navigli in Milan more for aperitif, to have a good drink in the city. But the reopening of the canal, of the Navigli, is an opportunity to improve the use of energy, of the clean energy in the cities. So that is one of the things we are looking as an option to meet the energy demand as a smart cities. So integrating smart and resilience and in one singular approach and one singular strategy.
Milano has a very interesting project that connects, again, energy, water, and waste. The coupling in to create a gas house. How does it work? How that idea came out? And can you explain it a bit?
Well, I'm not so technical on
no, you don't have to be technical. Just give us a general idea.
And we have like this capability to reuse to take out from the waste the water and then makes energy out of that. Let's say that our waste, the water waste management plant are considered one of the top level in Europe. Especially, there is one that is more than coupled, and there is the other one in Nozedo that I think it's quite useful. One of our wastewater treatment plant, it's basically self-sufficient in using of energy because they are recovering the heating of the water as the process. And there is a potential of more than, let's say, new houses being 15,000 houses to be heating by the water. But at the same time, we are using the waste to produce organic things for agriculture. And since next year, we have a wetland. 10 years ago, we create a natural-based solution, or what we call now it's natural-based solution. Before it was a wetland, basically. It was a wetland that since next year will help us to clean the water naturally, without any kind of energy consumption, without any kind of concrete infrastructure. So we are moving out and use nature, building with nature, the cities also in the process of cleaning up the water. So that is, again, when we look at the energy demand, the first way is to fulfill the energy demand is to avoid the use of energy or to become more efficient in using the metabolism of the different resources altogether. So next time you come to Milan, come to Nozedo, that is our wastewater treatment plant, and you can see what we call the Bosco Umido, so it's the wetland that will be since next year using nature to clean up the water.
Smart energy system will be the future for cities. How Milano is planning to make all this system happening, like more electric cars, smart system together with a national company like Enel? How are you planning from the long term with the energy demands from a smart energy perspective?
And somehow we are not planning. We are enabling the solution. We are enabling the participation of private and utilities in making this happen. We don't have a smart cities plan. We don't have a smart city strategy. We have smart cities guidelines. So we are looking how we can enable through the public-private participation partnership to make smartness in the city. I say our, but
so we are leaving option open, so you have broader.
Yes, we said something. We push to get public lighting retrofit. We already retrofit 90% of the public lighting in Milan, so we already led, and we are moving to the smart lamppost. That was great when we sit with our energy utilities A2A to plan the public lighting retrofit. We say, okay, we want to keep maybe less of the savings, but we want that you use that savings to implement the smart lamppost. And nowadays, smart lamppost has been used not only for lighting, for example, but to install LoRa, the low range distance network. 85% of the city is covered by LoRa. And LoRa is nowadays used by the Fab Lab. And so this is like meet another objective of the cities, digital manufacturing, bring back manufacturing into the cities and not bring back out of the city the manufacturing. So this is something that we are working in setting the goals of the cities, but not planning, because that we need to support with that. There is more planning in the mobility, but it's kind of a challenge in mobility. We have increased 20% of the public passenger on the public transport. We are yearly base increasing 5% of the total kilometers amount of buses. We have 16,000 bike and sharing system, over 1,300,000 population. If I'm not wrong, London has 27,000 over 9 million. So if you compare the number, Milan is quite advanced, even compared to London. We have 6 operators of the car sharing. So we are strongly invested in creating the condition for the private to be the sharing mobility. But there is an increasing number of cars in the cities. Why? Because there is 30,000 people that every year come to the city living and looking for opportunity in Milan. So sometimes we also need to identify options when you have to increase the social need and the mobility and the smartness. So one of the concepts of the smart cities for us is not smart cities are technology driven, but it's a community driven. Because if you don't have like smart people in adopting and change their behavior, you can be as smart as much as you want, but you will not reach your objective in improving the quality and the comfort of the urban, the built environment.
So how you activate these communities, try to engage them to, think the energetic future of the city of Milano?
Well, I've seen a lot of people from Milan also around, and we are not activated. We are like one of the pillars of the city. What I also appreciate in Milan, that it's public, private, and city and community, all of us, we believe that we need to put our effort if we want to make the city more attractive and more, let's say, livable in terms of environment and quality of the air. But at the same time, we are piloting good experience on the community garden, for example. We start with one, and now almost 40% of the sharing garden, the community garden. Now 40% of the participatory budget is on community garden because the people want to get this public space and living more together. I'm thinking about public building retrofit. One thing we did, and I think it was really efficient, was a co-design process among 5 private buildings, where we were not the people going into the building and say, you should do this. And there was not technicians, like maybe a lot of you, going in the building and say, you should do like that. Because we prefer that community, the neighbor, was going to his neighbor and say, you should do it like that, because it makes savings. I always make an example. It's like when you are cooking home, and someone is coming to your cooking and say, in your kitchen, and say, you should do it like that. I would say, no, I will not do it, because I know how to cook.
Especially if you're a proud Italian.
Exactly, from proud Italian as well. And then, but if it's your neighbor makes you changing and is driven, so it's more enabling like people to people, instead of cities to cities, people to people, person to person, approaching that this makes the difference on getting this happen. So that's quite important in this way.
Thanks. I just want to remember, if you want to ask a question to Mr. Pelizzaro, you can use the app. You can log in and put a question, and in some minutes we'll go answer to it. But I want to ask you something more. How about financing? I mean, do you see you're enabling private company, to come and to build a strategy, build a project? How about the money? Do you see like the banking sector, do you see finance sector interesting in financing this energy transition?
Well, I think it was late May, beginning of June, the city has launched a new funding for energy efficiency. So we put public money, 24 million for building retrofit for private sector. Before to go public with it, we had like an open call for financial institutions that want to support us and the single and the people in getting this happen. We got more than 120 million euro attractiveness, because when the city is capable even to put few money, it makes something happen, then the bank system and the financial institutions see that it could be trust together, the public-private partnership. So we get good answer from the private. I also say that, I need to say that the national government, at least the previous one, the new one we are not sure about, they were adding a lot of investment in energy efficiency. We can reach 65% of incentives on building retrofit. So there was a strong support by the national government in making this happen, and this So that is also another important element. But we also see that, for example, now Intesa San Paolo has opened the new innovation lab in Milano with a circular lab. And it's basically they have a new investment fund of 5 billion euro on circular economy that is looking at the materials also for building to make the buildings not only more efficient, but also more circular in terms of using of resources and using of materials. And to, to overcome one of the big barriers we have in Italy on building a retrofit is demolish. So instead to demolish, to dismantle the building. So in the medium long term, this 5 million euro for innovation in the circularity also of the building, that is make a huge difference.
Citizens, visitors, travelers request more and more energy wherever they are. Is the city enabling them with public plugs around the city to recharge their mobile recharge or their appliances, smartwatch and whatever? Is that a thing in the...
I was with the colleagues that say that nowadays Milano is, I think it's the second or the third city in Italy for the attention of foreign tourists. And the colleagues say the Milanese they even don't recognize that we have become one of the capital of tourism in Italy and Europe because we want to be efficient anyway. So yes, there is a lot of new solution. Basically, we are the first city together with London also to get the contactless to pay at the metro. So when you have to pay, you don't need to buy your ticket. You can come with your credit card and pay directly to enter the metro. So that
how about recharging? How about like my mobile is out of energy. I just want to stop at the bus stop and recharge my mobile.
There is an interesting story. I mean, interesting story over. During the Expo in 2015, there was more than 150 points around the cities covered with a charging point. But vandalism was so high that we need to remove because the cost of maintenance and the cost of that makes too high on that. So we try. Sometimes we also need more collaboration in terms of we give you the hand, don't take my arms in, makes to avoid an opportunity to people to recharge. But the Wi-Fi, for example, that is almost everywhere in the public space, that would be really helpful for tourism. And we are working on new solution also for paying for tourist services, looking at Elad, for example, Eliat in Israel, they have a new solution. So we can improve it.
A very quick question, time's almost up. Citizens have to become also producer of energy in cities in many different ways. What are you doing? Are you enabling easier installation of solar panels? What are you doing to make citizens not just consumer but prosumers of energy?
Prosumer, yeah. Well, the solution we were saying before, when you get to use the water surface, that could be also the way how we can become prosumers somehow. We have some
installing more heating pump based on water temperature.
We are now having like kind of Rotterdam program. We are starting to design what we say the battle of the roof. Do we want a green roof or do we want a solar roof, right? There is like the green, the red, the gray, and the blue, and the white roof. So there is a different kind of roof, and the roof is a big potential. In the city of Milan, we have 24 million square meters of roof, and 11 million of square meters of roof are potential for green, to become green. So that is something that it's an opportunity for us. And then, that's I'm quit because maybe there was some question. But remember, when you are like an historical city center, there is a lot of limitation in installing solar and PV on the roof because we are looking more at the cultural heritage, so that is one of the limitations. But we are looking at more at water and solar as an option.
Sorry, 1 second. Thank you, Piero. So now we have the Q&A session. Sadly, Mr. Terasaki has to go because I have a very important meeting with the mayor of Barcelona, so he won't be sadly available for question. Mr. Pelizzaro, of course, he is. So I will check now on this on the iPad if we have received any questions. And let's see. Of course, we have a question about hydrogen. I will ask it to you, is Milano doing something to experiment hydrogen system?
At the moment, not. We are not doing any experiment, so any test on hydrogen. We have few people approach us, but we are focusing on, let's say, the solar and water, because we think that it's also, I strongly believe that still the hydrogen technology is still not too mature to become something really in the city. It still need to be improved before to become out of the test.
Then we have a question that already we have tackled, but maybe we can go a little bit deeper about decentralized energy production of rooftop solar energy. So many people see as an important topic here in this event. A lot of provinces are experimenting communities of prosumers. So not just enabling the single citizen, but enabling a group of people that also can exchange energy. They can, now with all this dynamic energy management system, they can exchange energy, they can sell, they can buy. So, and they can organize themselves as groups. Yes. So they can become cooperatives or can become a group of buyers, so they have better discounts on solar panel. Is there anything like this in Italy, in Milano or somewhere else?
Yes, we have an interesting, really interesting experience coming from Enostra. Enostra is an energy cooperative. It basically is using renewable energy. They are producing, acquiring, and then selling at a cheaper price to the end users. And it is increasing the number of people that are taking part of Enostra. And a good friend and colleague, Gianluca Ruggeri, is leading this cooperative. And we are seeing that every year is like more than 100% is an increasing number of the people getting there. But from the other perspective, I want to share also something that is interesting in terms of microgrid, let's say. The national legislator in Italy has introduced a new rules for improving the microgrid to the changing climate. They have created a resilience index for the grid. And so due to the heat waves and the heat island creation, there is the need to maybe like reduce the work on the big grid and going for microgrid. So even if we don't want, we are moving into microgrid as a resilient answer to the heat waves that it's affecting the cities anyway. And this program is started in Milan 2015, so it's already 3 years ago. Maybe we are doing a lot, but we don't publish enough. We don't communicate enough.
So another question is about buildings. So how you rethink the way building retrofitting is done? In Italy, it's a massive problem. We have to retrofit almost 14. How much was it? 2 billion square meter of surface need energetic retrofitting of buildings. So it's a massive amount of building needs to do that. Most of the people are not aware of what they do, and most of the time they believe it's an extra cost. How the municipality can enable that? How can you push forward to make this possible?
Well, more than 24 million euro, I mean?
No, I know. Well, also from a technological and from a policy perspective.
There is a policy. I mean, at the moment, we are reviewing our, in Italy it's named territorial governmental plan, or should be the master plan in the other cities. And there will be a new article in the set of rules, and it will be named Sustainable and Resilience. So we are improving the energy efficiency, not because we want to incentives, or we are saying we are setting new rules that is moving forward than even NZB, the nearly zero building. So we are pushing with the rules that all the new building should be more than NSB, so more than nearly zero building, but we are setting rules also for the circularity of the materials within the new construction, and we are also improving what is the drainage system in a sense, and they say that it's not anymore only horizontal and on the soil, it could be also integrated in the building, so improving the vertical garden as we have the Bosco Verticale experience, and or the green roof. And so that's, I think we are setting rules that will be challenging the building retrofit, not only for new buildings, but also for ordinary maintenance. So since hopefully next year, if you want to maintain and do some even small intervention on your building, you should expect some rules that are really challenging. And that's something that we should, thanks also the 100 Resilient Cities Network that is supporting us together, because we have a joint initiative with Paris and Manchester in looking at this as an opportunity for cities to improve, again, the comfort of the built environment.
We still have some minutes. I will ask you a couple of more questions myself, because we have exhausted the question on the iPad. I don't know if I have to update it, but and if you have any question, you don't want to interact with the iPad, of course, you can raise your hand the old way. We are not so, you're not forced to use the technology. So if you have any question, well, you see, here we have one question. I don't know if we have a microphone. Someone can bring a microphone. Otherwise, you can just, oh, yeah, there, right there. Right, yeah. Thank you.
Sì, okay. No, it's more about mobility in Milano. So I was living there and I noticed that, yes, the bike sharing are increasing, but why you don't do bike lanes, for example? I mean, what's the point in the urban planning of not having at all bike lanes? It's impossible to bike in Milano. I tried a lot, but it's really impossible. So I would like to understand what's the problem.
Well, I just came out from a meeting with Michael Colville, Copenhagen. I mean, in the sense that he's the king of the bike lane, right? And they comes to me and they say, oh, damn it, how is terrible design the bike line here in Barcelona? And I say, why? You have a lot, there is a lot of bike lanes. Yes, but they're in the middle of the street. So they are not prioritized for people as well. But when I come to Barcelona, I always dream to have the same kind of big road, a really large road where the city, where you can easily somehow design more bike lane.
I guess Milan is not that lucky to have a Plan Serra in place.
Yes. But somehow we are now adding more than 50 up to 60 kilometers every year of bike line. If you consider that the kilometers of bike lines could be cost €1 million, so it's not really, it's a huge investment that we need to make, and it's an option. And the things that there is some strange rules that is not in charge of the local legislator, is in charge of the national legislator. That for every building that you have a certain amount of parking that you have to be nearby the building, at least in Milan. So we tried to change these rules in the master plan, but was not possible to make. This doesn't excuse us to not invest more in the better design the bike line. But if we come in a few years, you will see more. We recognize that we are not a city for bikers. I'm also a biker, and sometimes really it's complicated. And the other thing that we have an issue, and we need to find a solution, and we still want to keep the ancient road. And the ancient road with the pavé, it's not really proper design with our pavé at least for bikers. So there is a need to be improved, and we are doing what is on our capability at the moment. But yes, I'm totally agree with you, and we do recognize that we should do more on that.
Well, and also I guess you will do some planning for like mobility anyway, for like electric cars as a car sharing and
yes, but you know, still car sharing is still cars. We would like to become in the medium long term a more walkable cities than a car. Some more, I mean. What is doing in London is amazing.
How about the fact that car can become a part of the energy structure?
Yeah, but still cars. Car is.
So probably we have to invest more on electric bikes.
If you look at the city that have 42 degrees, there is different source of heating. One is a heating pump, one is the climate, and the other one is cars. Try to be a day in a big cities without cars, and you will feel a different climate and a different environment. So, I mean, having less car is meaning also improving the value of the property, is improving the accessibility to the shops. So it makes even the shop more attractive for them.
Thanks. The next question just arrived. How do you measure the resilience of your energy system?
Oh yeah, a good question. I mean, in general, I don't know who asked this question, but I would like to speak with this person, because if someone is capable to give me some resilience indicators, I'm looking at that since years. Because at the moment, if you will look at the resilience, one of the things that I'm missing, so if someone has some answer on that, we are looking at the indicators. The national legislation.
Is there any KPI that you're applying to the energy system, at least for security?
The security, that the national legislature, that was the first indicator I've seen, an index actually, more than indicators, is linked to a risk index, linked to a resilience index of the energy grid. So they are looking at how much is the time. So there is 3 elements: time, space, and users, basically, in this index. Well, I'll give you more an example that maybe could be better to explain. The index is based on experience. In 2015, between June and July, in the city, we have more than 500,000 disruption. They interrupt the distribution of energy to almost 500,000 people in a week. This is cost to the energy providers almost like €600,000 on that. And then was something that they were not even capable to think about because we reached 45 degrees in a single week as a perception. So you have to use the time, how many times you interrupt the distribution of energy. Then you look at the space where are located, and then how many users were interrupted. So the indicators of us is the continuity of the energy distribution. It would be also not only for people, but also for business, because business continuity is what makes the city more attractive for investors.
That's fundamental, absolutely. And regarding security, there's also a very interesting question about the use of blockchain in peer-to-peer exchange of energy and security. Is something you know about it? We cannot ask. I know we're asking a lot of very different questions.
Yeah, no. I mean, I personally don't know so much about this. There are a couple of energy providers that comes to us, start to understand if blockchain could be something that could be being used. But at the moment, we are not doing something specifically on this. I think blockchain is a big opportunity for energy, for food, to track all the origin of the food. And we have, so there are a couple of opportunities that come into the city, but we are not doing it. So, but we are exploring. This is an option.
The last question, we're running out of time. You're a policy guy, obviously, and you like a lot of policy-oriented solution. Is there any technology that interests you that you think it might be very important to implement in the city for saving energy, meeting the energy demand, creating? Is there something you have seen recently that really struck your attention? It's like, I would like to see this more implemented.
Maybe I'm an ancient one, but I think it's education. Once you are
He's definitely a policy guy.
Once you have an educated population that understand that when is, I mean, nowadays in Milan, we are still in summer. Today, I think is expecting to have like 20 degrees in Milan. It's meaning like 7 degrees up to the average temperature. So when the people, the US president said that climate change is not happening, Mr. Donald Trump, maybe he's completely wrong. But if people with 20 degrees out, they are still turn on the heating system, that is a failure. And so we can use the technology to switch off that heating, but I would prefer that the people on their own decide to switch off their technology. So I think that technology is important. Platform, social platform, blockchain, it could be absolutely one of the future, because social platform and blockchain linking people. And our community behavior as Italians, I think that could be matching a lot in education.
Guidance to the citizen becoming important.
Yes.
Piero Pelizzaro, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your participation. Now we have the networking break. It will last around 15 minutes. So I'll invite you to stay here. You'll find some coffee, I think, in the background. And of course, you can interact with the speaker and with the other people present at the session. And we will reconvene exactly in 15 minutes now. Thank you. And welcome back. Welcome back to the session. We are here, of course, to imagine the future of the energy demand. I'm sorry you also have to imagine the coffee. There was a minor problem, but don't worry, we'll keep with the session. And the next panel will be managed by Eric Woods. Eric Woods is a research director of the Smart Cities at Navigant Research with a great experience across the energy, mobility, buildings, and government sectors. I invite Eric. He's going to be the chair of the panels, and I'll come back for the final comments on this panel, in this session for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Emanuele. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a real privilege to be here. Everyone at this conference knows how dramatic the changes are that are happening in our cities. But at the same time, we're going through an enormous transformation of our energy sector. We're seeing the old centralized fossil fuel-based one-way energy system being replaced by a highly dynamic, distributed, mobile, and clean energy system. This new energy system, which at Navigant we call the energy cloud, is opening up immense opportunities, but also great challenges, not just technical challenges, but fundamental changes to the business models that underpin our energy sector. And cities are playing a crucial role in this. They are the place where so many of these innovations are happening: electric vehicles, smart buildings, distributed energy. But also, they are now becoming active players in that transformation. They are driving their cities towards the adoption of renewable energy. They are looking at how to improve the resilience of their city, and we heard about what is happening in Milan earlier. They are ensuring that the infrastructure is there to support the innovations in the energy sector they want to see if they are going to become sustainable, low-carbon cities. And they are even starting to intervene in the marketplace if they feel that the market is not responding to the needs that they will have to be those low-carbon cities of 2050. So this is a highly exciting time in terms of the changes in our urban energy landscape. I'm really pleased to have three great presentations that are going to look at different facets of that from around the world. And hopefully that will also give plenty of opportunity for questions around these projects. So please remember to use your app to go to the Ask and Vote icon, and there you can enter your questions, and we can use them when we come back for the panel session at the final part of the presentation. So now I would like to call on our first speaker. That is Augusto Venerando, who's an innovation analyst with CPFL Brazil. And he's going to talk about the Living Lab project in Campinas. Augusto, over to you. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Augusto. I'm from Brazil. I work in CPFL Energy. It's a utility company in Brazil. We have 13.9% of energy market in Brazil. And we are part of State Grid Group, Chinese group. And the energy sector in Brazil, it's a regulated sector. It's not a free market, so no for residential or small business consumers. So there is a federal agency, ANEL, and with this regulated market, we have to invest in R&D projects. In CPFL, we invest about $10 million per year in R&D projects. And I will talk about some projects, R&D projects that we have in Campinas. The headquarters of CPFL is in Campinas. Campinas is a big city in Brazil. It's a 1.1 million inhabitants city. And in Brazil, we have a Barão Geraldo district. It's a little district with near Campinas, with Unicamp. It's Campinas University. It's one of the biggest universities in Brazil. And Unicamp is the partner of CPFL in these projects that I will talk about today. Here a big picture about this project. So we have projects in energy, photovoltaic energy generation, electromobility, smart meters, energy storage, and energy conservation. So I will talk about some projects in this team. About photovoltaic generations, you have two models. We have a using model with different types of PV solar models with 1.1 megawatts installed in Campinas, and another model with 231 photovoltaic systems installed in Barão Geraldo district. So here we are testing two models of generation, centralized generation and distributed generation in Brazil. These 231 photovoltaic systems are installed in real consumers. So it's not a control test or something like that. It's real consumers, real lives, real applications. We just put the technologies and give to the population, and okay, use, and let's see how these new technologies change the behavior of the consumer, and how this technology in the grid, energy grid, will impact technical aspects. About electromobility, you have two models here too. You buy some electric vehicles and install some electric chargers in the city for test the electric impact in the energy grid. And another model is electric bus applied in university campus. So it's public transport and individual transport. So again, technical aspects, technical tests in the grid, integration with this technology on the grid, and regulatory aspects. So how this market, the regulated market, will be the few years ago. So how can we test this on practical way? Okay. About energy storage, you have three models here. One model is residential storage, so put this technology in real consumers, like the solar photovoltaic technology. We have energy storage in substations, looking for power quality, and energy storage in usings, wind power usings, the solar power usings. So we are here looking for energy power quality and energy use for the final consumer. So we have these three types of tests for technical aspects and regulatory aspects. In Brazil, we don't have any regulatory law or something like that for energy storage yet. So with these tests, we are looking for a proposal, new types of regulatory laws or something like that for this technology on the grid. Okay. Think about load disaggregation. Here we have application in final consumer. So you have a smart meter that make the bill breakdown. With 1 point of measure, we know how all loads in the residence, how these loads consume energy. So the bill breakdown of energy able to our clients to make better decisions. So here we are producing a new energy meter and smart plugs. In Brazil, we don't have smart plugs. I know here in Europe and the United States have smart plugs in Amazon, something like that. In Brazil, we don't have this. So this is a new opportunity to final consumer to act in your loads and planning the use of energy. So with this project, we are looking for this change of behavior of the consumer, final consumer, of the residential consumer and small business. Okay. This is a Smart Campus project, partner Unicamp, and all these technologies apply in the university campus. So we have all these technologies applying in a real life, in a real local, like a city with unique specs, but it's a city. And we have all this technology in use. With real use, real consumers, real data about these technologies, about this behavior, change of behavior of these consumers and students and something like that in campus. It's a model to, it's a small application to expand to another applications on the city or on the Barão Geraldo district. Okay. So here, illustrative map with all these technologies. Here we have a smart home concept. In a near future, you have all these technologies in your unique home with a real family, a real consumer. So it's not a researcher, it's not a student, it's not a CPFL collaborator or something like that. It's a real guy using a real technology and changing his behavior with all these new possibilities, with all this new technology and device. You know. So at least we truly believe that energy in the future, on the city of future, will be a vector to promote well-being. So the integrated of transport, telecom, energy industry, it's essential for change lives and change how we see the energy or the energy sector today. So in the future, it's a multi-utility, not just energy utility, gas utility, or transport or telecom. It's a multi-utility, so it's an integrated business, integrated environment with smart grids, with hybrid and electric cars, and smart house. So we truly believe that with this project, we are taking the future to present and making this test. We are accelerating this, the integration of these technologies on the grid, on the people's lives. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Augusto. And please, if you have any questions for Augusto, you can use the Vote and Ask app, and we'll come back to it when we come to the panel session. But for now, I want to introduce Pierre-Alain Kreutschy from Yverdon-Energies. He's head of commercial and business development in Switzerland, and he's going to talk about city and territorial energy management projects. Pierre-Alain, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm very glad to present you the city of Yverdon-les-Bains, which is a quite smaller city as the one that Augusto told us. It's in Switzerland, in the center of Switzerland, the French part of Switzerland. It's a quite small city, which is about this size, and it's a regional capital city with 30,000 inhabitants. And we have to deal with many problems, many things to address, such as infrastructures management, services, utilities, networks, data management, telecommunication infrastructures, and so on. So, as a public utility, providing these 30,000 people with electricity, renewable electricity and energies, public lighting, street lighting, dark fiber, district heating, drinking water, natural gas. We have to manage all this in as far as possible in a smart way. And to do that, it's not so easy. A public utility means that our company is owned by the municipality of the city. And we are one of the 7 departments which are dealing with all the services that a city must provide to the people. And we fix energy policy goals for 2035, as you can say. So decrease the total energy consumption per capita, decrease the electricity energy consumption, decrease the greenhouse gases emissions, and satisfy 30% of the city total energy consumption by renewables. That's not easy. It costs a lot. It costs in financial resources, but with competencies, resources, human resources. So first of all, we try to plan something. You know, we studied the needs of the city in energy and the resources that we have at our disposal. And what we say is that on the left side, you can see the reddest zones are the ones that are consuming a lot of energy today. And the idea is that in 2050, these zones will be more and more yellow, so less consuming energy in overall. So How to manage this transition between today's reality and the 2050 scenario? First of all, we defined the city energy policy according to goals which are the same goals that the country had set. Secondly, we designed a set of products. So that's why I'm the head of the commercial and development department. We have to sell product to encourage the people to make something, to have something to do with the product that we make for them. And we design a set of products at the demand level and at the supply level. So demand level is more like subsidized for installing heating pumps, for buying alternative vehicles, electricity vehicles, natural gas vehicles, to make analysis of the consumption of the buildings and so on. At the supply level, we design new district heating system networks, just to bring new energy renewable with new system which are using by example waste fatal heating or other means. We define measurable KPIs just in order to define how to follow, how to monitor this progress, and to monitor the progress toward the goals. We develop with a company, a Swiss company, software. So from the supply scenario to the demand scenario, we then develop this software, which is the grid's energy city system, which presents here the city with all the buildings and some KPIs which are primary energy consumption, final energy consumption, heated living space, CO2 emissions. So these are the main KPIs that we can follow, we can monitor with this tool. When we focus on a district, we can see the specification of the buildings which are in the zone that we have selected, and we can see how much energy, how many kilowatts, how many gas, how many electricity the zone can absorb or can consume. And we can see the total, the overall emission of CO2. That's the starting point of the process. And then when we develop our efficiency program, then we can manage the way the buildings are consuming in the future. We defined different specific layers with different filtering features, and then we can really monitor the things that are very precise in terms of granularity, in terms of type of buildings, using of the buildings, and so on. So it's very interesting to see how it is easy to manage this KPIs with this tool. We can act at the building level just to make a zoom on a specific building, and we are currently developing a new tool just in order to give information to the owners of the building, in order to allow them to benefit from a new subsidy, or to give them insights in order to improve their consumption system. So at the end of the presentation, I just want to show a brief schemes, which is showing that, first of all, we have to define clear goals, a strategy, and a program. We must develop the data acquisition and management system, which is not just a simple thing to do, because we have to put in to install smart meter, to develop hardware architecture, software architecture, and to develop competencies to manage all this. Of course, we must have measurable KPIs, analysis tools, and specific skills to analyze the data. And then, once the data are measured, we have to update them regularly. It's an iterative process, and we have to re-feed the system in order to see the progress. That's the point. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. Fascinating project, and I'm sure you'll have questions from the audience later. I certainly have got some questions about that. Talking about the transition, you can see there how a city might in future need to manage its energy profile and the tools that are available. Fascinating. So firstly, though, we'll move on to our third speaker, who's Nuria Gallego Salvador, who's Technical and Business Development Director at FCC Industrial. Nuria, I believe, is going to present in Spanish. So those of you who are not native Spanish speakers like myself may need to look for the translator, but I'll hand over to Nuria. And thank you.
Buenas tardes. Agradecer ante todo, en primer lugar, al Smart City Expo World Congress el poder estar aquí y a la compañía a la que represento, FCC Industrial, que forma parte de un grupo de empresas, FCC, que trabajan en tres grandes áreas: sector agua, sector medio ambiente y sector construcción. Industrial es plenamente dentro de construcción. Vamos a recorrer en 5 minutos un poquito buenas prácticas que desarrollamos en nuestra actividad diaria con las herramientas que disponen actualmente nuestros clientes y sobre todo con las aplicaciones que desarrollan dos grandes áreas dentro de FCC Industrial: la división de sistemas y la división de mantenimiento y eficiencia energética. Vamos a hablar de las grandes ciudades, de las Smart Cities. Vamos a hablar de nuestras casas, en primer lugar, que están en esas grandes ciudades, del consumo que tenemos, de los edificios singulares, sean privados o públicos. Vamos a hablar del alumbrado público, consumos fijos que tienen las Smart Cities, unas pequeñas conclusiones y un pequeño apéndice. Todas las previsiones de las grandes compañías y de los grandes auditores sitúan que en 2030 el consumo global del mundo, el 75% de él, estará en las grandes ciudades. Nací en una pequeña ciudad en el norte de España. A los 17 años me trasladé a una gran ciudad que hoy en día es Smart City, es Madrid. Estoy viendo la transición de mi descendencia que se va a ciudades aún mayores. Estas ciudades son actualmente Smart Cities como es Barcelona, o lo serán seguramente. La gran presencia, estas grandes ciudades demandan, y todos los actores demandan tecnología, pero esta tecnología está presente y está presente en nuestras empresas y en nuestras universidades. Lo que también está claro es que cuanto más desarrollo tiene toda una ciudad o todo un país, necesita y demanda más energía. En España, concretamente, en una tabla, vamos a situar el año 2016, que es el cual tenemos todos los datos más concretos y cerrados. La estructura de generación que tenemos actualmente en España sitúa, como se puede ver en las últimas líneas, entre lo que es la generación eléctrica, un 60% no renovable y un 40% renovable, repartida en los diferentes sectores que estáis viendo. Trabajamos en la implantación de nuevas medidas renovables, hemos montado plantas termosolares, plantas fotovoltaicas y las estamos llevando en función de las regulaciones actuales a los últimos sectores y a los más pequeños, pero aún así estamos que la eólica sigue creciendo, pero la fotovoltaica sigue siendo bastante pequeña. Si situamos el consumo de la energía primaria en España en el año 2016, según el Ministerio de Industria, el 50% se sitúa en los productos, procede de productos del petróleo. Los gases derivados de ellos suponen todavía el 16%, actividad a la que damos servicio. Estamos hablando de que esa energía renovable que tenemos, que supone el 40% de nuestra estructura de generación, solamente aparece como energía primaria el 6%, 6,7%. Vamos a analizar un poquito, para poder hablar de la transición, vamos a analizar la demanda y os vamos a explicar cómo lo hacemos en FCC Industrial y en los proyectos en los cuales, a modo de muestra, trabajaremos. Si lo hacemos de un modo sectorial, lo que es el consumo, tenemos que la industria en el país en el año 2016, sobre un total de 82.000 kilotoneladas equivalentes de petróleo, supuso el 23%. No va a ser objeto de esta charla y lo vamos a dejar a un lado. El transporte supuso el 42% en el año 2016 y usos varios el 35%. Si focalizamos nuestra acción en el transporte, el 33,5% se sitúa en el transporte en carretera. Si nos damos cuenta antes, procede de productos del petróleo. No lo vamos a trabajar. Vamos a centrar la conversación y la vamos a ir focalizando en la energía eléctrica. Si analizamos los usos varios que se dan en esa agrupación que hace el Ministerio de Industria, observamos que el 13% se sitúa en administraciones públicas y edificios y un 18% en el sector residencial. Una vez focalizado el tema de que estamos hablando del 18% del consumo en el global del país en el año 2016, vamos a hablar de viviendas y vamos a hablar de nuestras casas y de nuestras residencias. Nosotros estamos utilizando dentro de FCC Industrial medida y verificación certificada internacionalmente. Estamos utilizando data mining, estamos utilizando data analysis, customer service and efficient energy. Concretamente, situamos Tres Cantos, una población en el norte de Madrid, de la cual disponemos de datos desde el año 2010 en varias zonas residenciales. Unas son privadas y otras son viviendas de protección oficial, en las cuales vamos a analizar consumos de agua caliente sanitaria, consumos de calefacción, dentro de un programa que participamos en un proyecto de I+D+I que expusimos el año pasado en esta misma feria, Bill Smart, en el cual proporcionábamos herramientas a través de aplicaciones de Android y de otras utilidades para el consumo y medir, cuantificar las demandas. A modo de ejemplo, y solamente a modo de ejemplo de todos los datos que tenemos acumulados, en una calle, 3 portales, estamos observando, hemos comparado 3 seguidos, la demanda que se está produciendo en calefacción, los consumos, y en agua caliente sanitaria, cada uno referido a su escala y el promedio que se actúa. Estamos viendo un edificio predominantemente orientado al sur, un edificio predominantemente orientado al norte y uno intermedio. Podemos tener en cuenta qué consumos estamos teniendo por cada uno de los niveles de piso. Podemos asignar y podemos saber cuáles son los pisos intermedios, que son los que menos demandan. En el caso de protecciones oficiales o en el caso de querer simplemente otorgar a una familia más desprotegida una vivienda con menor consumo, tenemos datos suficientes para poder dar a las administraciones y a las comunidades de propietarios cuáles son los más eficientes. Esto, lógicamente, estamos hablando a nivel mensual cuáles son los consumos que tenemos y volvemos a hablar que aplicando algoritmia y aplicando Big Data podemos elegir con los consumos actuales diversas formas de pago, tarifas fijas, mensuales, trimestrales podemos buscar las smart grid que han enunciado algunos de los compañeros para poder suplir totalmente la demanda. Todo esto a mayores, esto simplemente lo estamos haciendo con unos cerramientos estándar perfectamente identificados dentro de la normativa. Ahora estamos yendo un poquito más. Estamos utilizando innovación y desarrollo con inversión propia de la casa en un proyecto denominado Residencia Tasa Cero, donde estamos aplicando, intentando llegar a esa casa de consumo nulo, metiendo algo también en protecciones pasivas, disminuyendo muchísimo las transmisiones y a mayores intentando buscar enfriamientos y calentamientos gratuitos. Los resultados de este proyecto ya hay algunos y os traeremos más el año que viene, si Dios quiere. Una vez enfocados el tema de las viviendas, os vamos a enseñar un poquito qué hacemos en la edificación singular. Además de todas las medidas que os hemos explicado antes, aquí a mayores estamos aplicando planificación Big Data y predictivo. Un claro ejemplo puede ser esta torre, en la cual diariamente tenemos la previsión de carga que va a tener y la demanda. Sabemos a qué hora vamos a consumir. Podemos elegir a qué precio podemos comprar el kilovatio. Es más, podemos saber qué energía renovable es la que más se adapta a nuestro consumidor. Esto es exactamente del 6 de noviembre y sabemos lo que va a consumir esta torre, con un grado de precisión muy pequeño. Ahora os explicamos en un paso siguiente. Este es otro gran ejemplo, como es el Teatro Real de Madrid, del cual disponemos de datos desde su inauguración en el año 1997. Estamos viendo lo que estamos consumiendo en cada uno de los transformadores. Estamos viendo en qué periodo consumimos. Estamos midiendo la huella de carbono, la reducción de potencia. Estamos dando acumulativamente las herramientas al cliente, a la Smart City y a los ciudadanos que viven para poder consumir en el momento en el que la tasa de generación es más eficiente. Algunos datos más nos sitúan, además de ser eficientes en cuanto al comportamiento ecológico, también lo somos fundamentalmente en lo que supone el bolsillo de nuestros clientes y el bolsillo de nuestras ciudades, donde marcamos siempre muy clara la línea del maxímetro y, lógicamente, ponemos a funcionar los equipos con COPs más importantes. Los gráficos que tenéis en la parte inferior están acumulando 5 años de consumo, pero pueden acumular exactamente 21, concretamente en este edificio. Estamos viendo, no os puedo dejar el precio del kilovatio que tiene actualmente, pero siempre estamos trabajando en los niveles de COP. No hemos metido nada más que aplicaciones de nuestra base de sistemas sobre los BMS, los Building Monitoring System, que disponen los edificios actualmente. Algún ejemplo más, como puede ser la Biblioteca Nacional. Estamos manejando Open Data. Los datos de temperatura están perfectamente contrastados y de humedad relativa, y hemos colocado las ondas y las calibramos para saber exactamente cómo podemos aplicar el free cooling adecuado en cada una de las salas. En un paso a mayores, estamos aplicando redes neuronales abiertas, inteligencia artificial, para mejorar y predecir el consumo. Por nuestra parte, fijamos los vectores principales. Hemos mezclado la seguridad del edificio y lo que es la taquilla. En los tornos de acceso estamos viendo cuántas personas entran. Estamos comprobando diariamente la carga que vamos a tener. Concretamente en este centro sabemos cuánto va a ser la entrada de personas que vamos a tener. Vamos a comprobar la carga interna porque sabemos los equipos que están conectados con los Smart Meter que tenemos en los diferentes cuadros. Y por otra parte, conocemos los COPs de las medidas. Tenemos Open Data, tenemos claramente la entalpía que tiene el aire exterior, con lo cual sabemos perfectamente cómo dar en cada momento y si tenemos que arrancar 3 horas antes los equipos para mantenerlos en el momento y evitar todos los picos. En último lugar, vamos a hablar del simplemente un consumo fijo y de forma muy rápida del consumo en alumbrado público. Aquí hacemos algo más. Os vamos a poner un ejemplo en la ciudad de Madrid, donde pasamos en las medidas de eficiencia energética, redujimos el consumo un 45%. Entre el año 2014 y el 2015 se sigue materializando, lo veis mes a mes cómo se produce, pero os quería poner este gráfico. Entrando en el portal de transparencia de las principales ciudades europeas, podemos comprobar Londres, he cogido Madrid, puesto que el idioma en el que estoy hablando es español, podéis ver que el consumo de una gran ciudad como es Madrid, en más de 12 millones de megavatios, el alumbrado público solamente supone el 0,5% del problema. La demanda doméstica está en el 35% y la demanda de las administraciones públicas está en el 18%. Si cogemos el portal de transparencia del Ayuntamiento de Barcelona, sitúa el 32% el alumbrado doméstico. Nuestras casas tenemos que hacer algo con ellas. Hay una demanda creciente, simplemente data center, enfriamiento gratuito, es una oportunidad grande que tenemos ahí, que cada vez tenemos más. Como última parte os cuento lo que hay aquí y solamente por acabar en la conclusión de nuestro gran accionista, que si estás en los negocios necesitas entender el ambiente, necesitas tener una visión del futuro y necesitas conocer el pasado. Esto lo dice Carlos Slim, pero es emblema de nuestra casa.
Thank you. Can I ask the panelists to come and join us then for our question? And thank you. Sorry, Nuria, but we want to have some questions. And if there's any questions in the audience, please raise your hand. We'll be happy to take them from the audience or through the application. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to start with a question that came up for you, Pierre. Fascinating view about what a city could look like in terms of looking at its energy. What was the process of data collection for that? I mean, there's so much data you were showing. What was the process and what was the challenge of collecting data?
Yeah.
Sorry, so Pierre-Alain first. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the process was quite complicated at the beginning because we should collect different databases in order to have a good overview of the specification of the buildings and the information about consumptions of the buildings, the energy types of which were consumed by the buildings, and it has taken almost 1 year just to collect the information and to check all the points, all the information which were in this basis. Second point is that sometimes we didn't find the data in order to feed the tool. So the way to interpret the information was to make extrapolation about the consumption of the building based on the surface of the buildings, the height of the building, the age of the building, and so on.
Excellent, excellent. Nuria, perhaps on data, you talked a lot about data. What's the challenge you see?
I think the principal challenge are the cultural, the sharing economy, the circular economy, and energy sharing. The renewable energy is necessary sharing.
Okay. And Augusto, have you had issues around data collection? I mean, you're collecting, especially on the campus, where you're pulling so many different solutions together.
Yeah, think about the company, the business company is not our core business, the data collector or working with this data. So in the first moment, the solution you have, so they pass this work for our partner, university. So we work closely with university to data collect, and we take only the data analyze, or if you process it. And so in the end, the CPFL don't work with the data, just consume this data. But it's a long process, you know. In the future, it's obviously key so that CPFL must work with this data, but it's a long process, it's a complex process to internalize all this complex process of data collect and data analysis.
Okay. And Yeah, I mean, we're finding more and more cities and utilities working with universities to be able to bring the skills in for big data analysis, for artificial intelligence and so forth. Really important. Any questions in the audience before that's my next question. Okay. One side of this, and you talked about this, Augusto, is working with the consumer and also with the citizen and business. How are you engaging those consumers, and how are they becoming prosumers of energy, and how important is that they become active prosumers of energy in your projects? Augusto.
The process here is about giving information. Yeah, the information is an essential thing for to engage the consumer. You know, in Brazil, we don't have much information about this new technologies. And solar technology may be the most hype technology of this that I presented here. So even solar technology, a lot of people think, oh, okay, it's water heat or something like that, but it's not for electric power. So it's a long process of information, technical sessions. It's visiting the consumers on their homes or their buildings, and it's a long process. So it's a complex process, but it's a face-to-face process. It's essential to make tangible these solutions for the final consumer, and make tangible the benefits and how this technology works. Without this, the final consumer don't participate, don't engage with the business.
I think that's really interesting, because a lot of the early smart city, smart grid projects, they were very technically oriented. So they were about, can we get the grid to manage an electric vehicle? They failed to engage the consumers. And for that, I think they failed in many ways. And it's great to see that you're actually putting the investment into that engagement as well. Pierre-Alain, in a city, it's even more important you engage. They have votes. they get more involved. How's the engagement working in? Yeah.
I told you during the presentation that this program needs to be done together with many things. And one thing which is critical is the way to communicate about all these programs in order to give information to the consumers, and to make it acceptable by the consumers, because most of the time they don't understand too much all these technical projects. And today we are deploying a smart metering project in our city, and together with this project we are designing the communication plan, the media plan, in order to give information to people just before to install the smart meters. Because there are many people which are reluctant to accept a smart meter in their house, and we must think about this communication plan before starting anything else. So that's a major point to think about before launching this kind of project.
Excellent. I'm looking for questions still. No. So one thing that came up in all your presentations was the importance of buildings. I mean, buildings use between 40 and 70% of energy in a city. There's a huge potential to reduce city consumption by improving what we do with our buildings. Nuria, I mean, you were talking a lot about buildings. Why aren't we making our buildings more energy efficient more quickly? What's the barrier to doing more buildings like those you spoke about?
Sorry, I vuelvo al español.
Yeah, that's fine.
A ver. Que nuestros edificios sean mejores hará que nuestra sociedad sea mejor. Y las medidas más eficientes actualmente es reducir el consumo fundamentalmente. Para reducir el consumo, lo primero que tenemos que conocer, y tenemos herramientas en todos nuestros edificios, es exactamente cuándo consumimos y de qué manera. Una vez que sabemos cuándo consumimos y de qué manera, podemos establecer unas medidas de reducción. Con esas medidas de reducción y esos horarios a los que consumimos, buscar alternativas que estén aprobadas por las reglamentaciones de los diferentes gobiernos que nos marcan y que nos marcan mucho las medidas más eficientes que tengamos para ponerlas en marcha.
Thank you. If I understood, just you talk about you've got to understand what's going on in the building, then we can act, which is very much what your project is doing. I mean, the level of insight that you're developing around city. But I wanted to ask a slightly different question for you. You talked about being one department in the city. Traditionally, that department made sure the energy flowed, that the power stayed on. Now, it's a very different job. How is the role of the energy sector, the utility in the city changing? You're presumably working with many other departments now. How does it change on a day-to-day?
The business model is changing. Today we don't sell only energy. We have to sell services on top of the energy utility, and the only way to keep customers in an open market is to find a position which is differentiating from other providers. So we try to bring solutions to the consumers, not only with cheaper energy or this kind of thing, but with a package of solutions which allow the customers to reduce the consumption, reduce the energy bill, but in the same time to bring new business opportunities to energy department.
And to meet the climate goals, the energy goals for the city, you have to work with the transport department, with the buildings team.
Yes, that will be ideal. But it's not the case. It's not the case. There are 7 different departments, and that's just the beginning to collaboration between us. So we developed this platform in order to show something, to show the way we want to go in order to achieve these goals, but not all the departments are capable to see the challenge that is under.
Yeah. So this is an internal education tool as well as external.
And I think that the critical success factor of this project and the way to bring smart city into our city is a political commitment from the top, and that's for me a kind of legislature project for 4 years or 5 years. The top of the political executives should say that their program will be to put the smart city in the city.
Excellent. Augusto, you come from the other side, a utility. Many of the things you're going to do are going to change that role, and you work in a regulated environment. What do you see as the challenges? What needs to change if you're going to scale those projects up in Campinas?
When you think about the regulation, our projects, many of our projects are looking for proposals for new regulations. This is essential for this open door with the regulator, with the political power or public power, it's essential for new regulations that able the city, able the business, the new model business, new technologies to internalize it on the grid, on the market of the country. So we work very hard in new proposals of regulations, new proposals of laws with the public power. So we presented these regulations or these proposals at the front of the project with the results. So it's a regulation investment with the results of the project. You know?
Excellent.
It's a way.
Right. With that, we are now out of time, but I think I would take some really key messages, particularly from those last few points. It's a start of a journey for government, utilities, cities, that we need leadership at the top to set the agenda for collaboration, because if we don't have the regulatory structure, we don't have the policies, we don't have the political will, we won't be able to get that collaboration. And then people have to learn how to collaborate. We need new types of peace. I mean, the other piece that I took from all your presentations, it's a new, fascinating world of integrated energy capabilities. You both had pictures, all three, of electric vehicles, smart buildings, distributed clean energy, smart metering, demand management, energy efficiency programs. These are all fascinating elements that need to be brought together. Your campus is a great project. What you're doing in the city is a wonderful example. I think we're at a really exciting moment in terms of our urban energy landscape. So it's great to hear these projects and how we're progressing and making that a reality. But for now, will you please join me in thanking the panelists for a great session. Thank you.
Well, and I want to thank Eric for the great moderation of this panel. I hope you enjoy as I did. It was a very, very interesting panel with a lot of ideas from the technological side, from the policy side. We see the technology are there. I don't think we're lacking technology. What we need is smart implementation. What we need is a lot of education of the citizen, of the customer, to really make great use of the technologies that are available nowadays at very also limited cost. I mean, the cost of many technologies is becoming more and more cheaper and cheaper. So we definitely have to keep it in mind. I think it's one of the main things that came out from this panel. We need to have good data. We have to share good data. Well, I mean, if we discuss data, probably we can keep going on a lot discussing about this, but that's really important. And of course, we have to fasten up. I mean, I don't have to remember, but energy transition is absolutely important for our future, for the future of our children. And of course, with the Paris agreements, cities are particularly called to take this role. If our governments fail us, city can't. City has the right for the citizen to provide the fastest, smartest transition to better energy, to energy efficiency, and to renewable energy. So I want to thank again all the speakers. I hope we will keep this discussion going in our cities. And I really believe that cities like the ones that have been represented here will lead in the future to this transition. Thank you all again. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Mr. Pelizzaro, and to Ms. Nakamura. Oh, sorry, I probably misspelled his name, but thank you again, and thank you for being here, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.